On tonight's episode of Whiskey Review Time, we will be reviewing George T. Stagg, the 2020 release. Now, a lot of you don't know, but George T. Stagg fought in the Civil War on the Union side. And after the war was over, he was a whiskey salesman, buying barrels of OFC bourbon and whiskey, also partnering up with E.H. Taylor Jr. They parted ways after a while. George T. Stagg ended up creating his own distillery as the Stagg Distillery, now known as Buffalo Trace. And in honor of that, Buffalo Trace likes to commemorate those that helped build their brand. So early in 2002, they came out with George T. Stagg, the very first release. One whiskey of the year. Tonight we have 2020 and we will be reviewing it. So, with no further ado, let's get to cracking, as we do in this household. We shake our bottles. Yes, we do. Shake, shake, shake. Fun fact, I always start my palate off with Buffalo Trace. Like, anytime I'm going to go drink a higher end bourbon, I always start with Buffalo Trace to make sure my palate's right. Now, that sounds kind of silly, but I don't want to be drinking high-end bourbon and my palate is off, or I've eaten food that's going to affect my palate or anything like that. So, with no further ado, let's get a little dive in his nose. Oh, I love the nose of George T. Stagg. Now, George T. Stagg is mash bill number 1 out of the Buffalo Trace line. And another thing is, this is aged about 15 years old, generally speaking. Sometimes a little more. I think generally they stay at about 15. And this is barrel strength. So that does kind of make it a little more special, and they only bottle so much of it every year. It's part of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, and there is Thomas Handy, William LaRue Weller, George T. Stagg, Eagle Rare 17 year, and Sazerac Rye 18 year. Now, Sazerac Rye 18 and Eagle Rare 17 are not barrel strength. Thomas Handy, William LaRue Weller, and George T. are at barrel strength, which does make this kind of a unique product. So, anyways, cheers. On the nose, I get fruit and tobacco and a little bit of oak. You're going to get a little bit of oak with it being around 15 years old. And that goes to show just a little in here, but it's not a bad thing. Like, it's very welcoming nose. It's light and it's sweet. It's not overpowering. It's not super alcohol-y, if you will. A lot of alcohol in your nose where it burns your nose. None of that. So I'm getting a little bit of raspberry, getting a little vanilla, a little bit of oak, rich tobacco, almost a grape note. I know that sounds weird, but this is absolutely beautiful. I get a little almond in there, like almond extract, that almond flavor, yeah. All right, let's see what this bad boy's all about. Wow. So for 130.4 proof, this doesn't drink at all like 130.4, proof. This drinks at like 105. It's really crazy. So this year's, I will say, the first thing I know, it's got a good mouthfeel. It's nice and a little velvety, little creaminess in there. Definitely getting that rich tobacco on the palate. First and foremost, nice and it's sweet, but not too sweet. You get a little oak in there, not too much oak. It's nicely balanced. It's not overly hot. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't drink at 130.4 at all. You get a little bit of those dried fruits, a little bit of apricot, a little bit of raspberry. Still getting a little bit of that grape tone. I know that sounds like really weird, but like bubble tape, you know, like the grape bubble tape when you were a kid, if like you were a kid back in the 90s, you had like the pink bubble tape. This is like the purple bubble tape. That's like that grape tone. It's really strange, but I tend to get that once in a while with these. It is what it is. One of those off notes. Anyways, It's nice, very nicely balanced. It's rich, not too rich. It isn't blowing out your palate at all. For 130 point, God, you could drink like half this bottle. It's crazy. This is a little bit of a dessert pour, in my opinion. Or you're sitting by a fire late at night and you want to just enjoy something nice. This is something you pull out for sure. It's not super underwhelming. Like last year, 2019 was a bit underwhelming. It was a little too light in my opinion. This is light. It's not as light though. To me, they're bringing it back and it's got a nice dark, deep copper color. This is definitely a great whiskey. That rich tobacco and caramel and fruit notes start to turn on the back of your palate before it goes down your throat into a little bit of pepper, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of baking spice, some more tobacco, light caramel. It's nice and sweet. It doesn't give you a hot throat on the back end when it goes down. Like some high proof bourbons, barrel strength bourbons can drink really hot on the back end, and that can just kill it for me. I don't know about you, but like if it leaves my throat just like, it's like fire comes out of your mouth, like no, that's not me. I love high proof bourbon. I went from 80, 90 proof to 100, 120, and now I love high proof bourbons. It's my jam, it's where I'm at. I do love the lower proofs, but I love high proof. This doesn't, again, it doesn't blow out your palate at all. That's what's really nice about this, and it's just like waking up your tongue and giving it that nice Kentucky hug. You've got all those flavors in there that you want. There's really not too much that I'd say negative about this bourbon. Honestly, it's a great release. I'm glad I got this year. Actually, I purchased this as an open bottle from a friend for about $400. He did me a service. I didn't want to pay $600 or whatever the hell they're going for. I think that's a bit high for a brand new George T. Stagg. Usually they're about the $450, $500 range. I was happy to get this at $400 with just like one pour out of it. So, Noah, thank you. You know who you are. Like I said, this you wouldn't kick this out of bed at all. I'm going to go ahead and give this a score. It's going to be quick and easy. It was a great whiskey. I definitely think, it's in the 8s for sure. I give it an 8 too, easily. I think this is a great drinking bourbon. Is it my favorite George T. Stagg? Absolutely not. But I'm not knocking it though. Like, gosh, I'm not going to kick it out of bed. It's not a hot mess. 2015, George T. Stagg, absolute hot mess. I had one. I opened it. I had it open for 2 years. 2 years later, people are like, oh, you got to let it open up. Yeah, I got that. I let all my bourbons open up. Gotcha. I'm on it. However, 2 years later, still an absolute hot mess. 2015 George T. Stagg, don't bother getting it. It was a hot mess. I sold my open bottle, believe it or not. I sold it. I don't even have it on my shelf anymore. I didn't want it. I go drink. Oh, why am I drinking this? I traded it for something else. Sold it straight. I got more bourbon for it. One way or the other. Got more bourbon for it. And same thing with the 2014 William LaRue Weller. I thought it was a hot mess. Now, it was the rarest that year. There was only like 1,400 or something bottles. It was super rare bottling of the William LaRue in 2014. It was a hot mess, in my opinion. I traded or sold that open bottle to get another bourbon that I'll actually drink because I had that open for 2 years, believe it or not. Nope, not doing it for me. Just like wasn't tickling, it wasn't giving me that warm feeling that I love, that I look for in a good bourbon. This is a good bourbon, like a great bourbon, really. Definitely worth an 8.2. That's where I stand on this guy. If I could say one thing, I think it could have delivered a harder punch, not with the proof, but with a more full body flavor. I feel like it's missing on the mid palate a little bit. Like it delivers on flavor, but like it just doesn't resonate. It's there, but I'm like, and the finish is a little soft. Also, And that to me is a little bit of a letdown, but not a huge letdown. Like, I'm not going to kick her out of bed. Like, this is a great one. Not planning on selling this as an opener, what the hell ever. Definitely will drink through this bottle. It's a great whiskey. Definitely better than last year. And anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time on the Whiskey Review Time. And make sure to hit that like and hit that subscribe button. That way you know when the videos come out. See you later.